time. What's the name of the band, Wayne?
Rambling Folk.
Rambling Folk, right? And it's a mixture of it's traditional and ballads and mixture and that sort of thing, is it?
Yeah, a lot of big famous Irish ballads.
Yeah,
The Dubliners,
yeah,
Furies, Christy Moore,
yeah.
and then we blend that in with some traditional Irish jigs and reels and
Right.
hornpipes and
Speak,
low
speak,
airs and stuff like that.
speaking of which, have I mentioned Chasing Abbey to you yet? Chasing Abbey.
That
This
rings a bell.
extraordinary Irish band I saw sold out. Had to go on a waiting list in a small venue, 400 people. They'd just done it was the first gig I saw in Ireland, actually. Three lads, all pure traditional music, but they've mixed. I think it's house, but my son tells me and my grandson tells me it's not house, but it's big bass, boom, 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 mixed in with Irish music. So it's completely different. Other people say it's party music. I'm not sure, but it's fantastic. Like I've seen Thin Lizzy, I've seen Planet, I've seen variations of Irish music done in so many different ways. It's been fantastic. I love every one of them. But this is something utterly and totally different that is bringing a whole new generation into Irish music. And they sing in Irish as well, and then mix it back into English. And it's extraordinary. They're touring America, actually, Chasing Abbey. Yeah, most unusual band. Yeah.
I'll check them out.
Yeah, do. They're really, really something else. But we watch out for your band as well, Wayne. That'd be nice to hear them. Well, look, it's 1:00. It's 1:00, and it's time for us to get together to chat about AI innovation and ethics, as we do every week, every Friday. Just before we do, we're going to play just a little bit of music to ease us in. This is Leah by Jordan, and she is a very talented young lady breaking through the ranks. Here we go. Leah by Jordan. So this young Polish lady I met singing on the bandstand, the old Victorian bandstand in the park beside my house with her dad, orchestrating the whole thing. And she's been on the X Factor over in Poland. She's got a great old voice. So we'll play a bit at the end, and we will also put the link to it on puresmith.org/blog. Okay, everybody, it's Friday. It's 1:00. It's busy time again. We're going to chat about our AI innovations and ethics in marketing and business. I'm delighted to have Reggie Johnson from Fort Worth, Texas, who's Director of Communications for Student Affairs at UNT Health Fort Worth. Great to have you here, Reggie, once again.
Great to be here. Good morning to everybody.
God bless you getting up at this horrible hour in the morning over in Texas. Fair play to you. And we've got good old Wayne Denner, who's our Safe Tech talker, coming to us all the way from Warren Point, beautiful Warren Point, County Down. Wayne, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Paul. Delighted to be here. It's a cold, wet day on Carlingford Lough.
Well, it's nice 30-something degrees here in Abu Dhabi. Just came back from Dubai today to Abu Dhabi. I'll be back in London tomorrow night. So it's lovely swimming around in the pools and the sea. And it's fabulous.
Bring some sunshine back, Paul.
I'll try to. So look, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to do some updates and stuff we've been talking about before. So that'll include Grok Nudity app and what the EU is doing about that. We're going to be looking at TikTok exploding, and they've just authorized even more data collection, which is kind of shocking stuff. We'll be looking at how to delete data that's been collected. You might be unknowing to you when you're using WhatsApp. So we'll go through that. We'll be then looking at something rather disturbing, which is biased data feed occurring because ChatGPT is now using Grokopedia. So we'll give you all the warnings about that, but you need to be aware of it. Then a shocking, disgusting, upsetting piece that I caught my eye. It has to do with the Six Nations rugby, and that's a massive GPT hallucination, which I posted a video about it last night, but we'll talk about it today. It's shocking stuff. So we'll talk you through that. And then more seriously, Claudot, an AI warning. So we'll have a look at Claudot, changing the name as we speak, actually. So watch out. Don't get sucker punched into that if you're not really familiar with it. And then we're going to talk about an AI warning, a warning about technology, actually, in a new book from Jerry McGovern, who's been on the chat before. And it's called The 99th Day, and it's out next Monday. So we'll have a little we'll cover a bit on that. It's quite disturbing stuff Jerry gets into. And we'll finish on a positive note, as we always do, and that is the most beautiful, I mean, Wayne said to me before we kicked off today, it's a really amazing website that's been built by a young man who lost his brother through social media, AI addiction in a sense. Well, suicide, it brought him to the end. And they've made the most beautiful user-generated content site ever seen in the world. So we'll play you a little bit of that towards the end. So let's just kick off with our first item, which is EU and going after Grok and the nudity. It seems like Grok have hit a button here. They've upset a lot of people by suggesting or thinking that they can just throw an app out there that could take a photograph or get a photograph of your granny or your aunt and just show them naked and turn it into a porn movie. So it's pretty horrible stuff. So this is the latest we've got to give you as by way of an update from this kind of shocking stuff. So they call it, the EU are referring to it as AI sexual deepfakes. Now this, by the way, is reported by BBC, so it's fairly reliable. And the headline is, EU investigates Elon Musk's X over Grok AI sexual deepfakes. Now, thanks to David McDonald for sending me in the link to this, because it's a short and sweet piece. But it's the European Commission has launched an investigation into Elon Musk's X over concerns its AI tool Grok was used to create sexualized images of real people. Now, this follows a similar announcement from the UK watchdog Ofcom earlier in January. So here's the bottom line. If X is found to have breached the rules of EU's under the Digital Service Act, the Commission could fine X up to 6% of its global annual turnover. I look forward to that because, in my opinion, it seems like that's just what they've been doing. So we wait with a bated breath to see a very heavy fine coming their way. Now, remember, we've talked about this in previous weeks, a previous statement from X about their safety account people saying that the social media platform had stopped Grok. Now listen to this, shock. We've talked about this before, but it's shocking. We have stopped Grok from digitally altering pictures of people to remove their clothing in, quote, jurisdictions where such content is illegal. Now, guys, tell me, help me with this. Is that the same thing as, I'll say it one more time and then ask you the question. So they're going to stop this in jurisdictions where such kind of content is illegal. So correct me if I'm wrong, but does this mean that if you don't have laws like this to protect young people, old people, anybody, your granny, your mother, your sister, your brother, your son, your grandson, if you don't have laws to protect them, they will just continue destroying people's lives by helping other people to create AI sexual deepfakes. Am I misinterpreting this, or what do you think?
I think it's a blatant admission of that. Is like, if it is still legal, we're still allowing it there. I mean, that's what it says.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear, and evidently it's not working, because if it's illegal in certain places where it's still happening, they haven't stopped it there, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we need a more joined up approach with our legislation across the world, so that if it's illegal in Ireland or the UK, it's illegal in Nigeria or anywhere else for that matter. It should be across the board.
Yeah. So that's collecting photographs from any source, anywhere, and embarrassing somebody by showing them looking naked and doing worse with it. So it's shocking stuff, and we will keep you up to date with what's happening.
But I wonder, Paul. I wonder just on that, if somebody's based in the UK or Ireland where it's illegal and you switch on a VPN and you go to another country where it's not illegal, can you trick the system in then to producing the content from wherever you are in the world, even if it's illegal or not? It's something for people to think about.
Yeah, and that brings us back to, why should they say only in regions where it's illegal? It's just disgusting to do to anybody. Sorry, Reggie.
Well, this is the idea of unclothing someone non-consensually using image software has been around for a while, not with videos, but with photos. People used to use Photoshop for this back 20 years ago or more, when the internet was young. The difference is the scale and the shareability. And, people used to feel like if you had something and had done that for your private use, it wasn't a big deal. But the problem is this is mainly being used for sharing and spreading. And that's why this is a different debate than it might have been when it took someone hours and hours and hours to do something like this in Photoshop. And now they can do it instantly and have it up on the internet in seconds.
Yeah, you're right. It is. It's another level. So we'll be watching X, and hopefully they'll be reined in. It's just disgusting to create a product that does that. No excuses. All right, Reggie, something about TikTok just authorizing even more data collection. And is this the American TikTok or the Chinese one, or who's doing what?
Well, there's been all this concern about China having access to TikTok's data and TikTok collecting data on American citizens. And now we go and see that TikTok, having this US agreement in place, has now updated their privacy policy to make it, as Clara Hawking said, she's someone that we like and we follow, that is very diligent about online safety and following big tech and the tech bros. It is now one of the most aggressive data collection regimes of any mainstream consumer platform. The thing is, it explicitly says what it collects, and the things it collects are named directly as racial and ethnic origin, religious and philosophical beliefs, mental and physical health data, sexual orientation, transgender or binary status, citizenship and immigration status. That's chilling. And precise location data. And the thing is, it's collecting even more than what users consciously share. It can read their imagery or their videos and tell about their setting and other things it can pick up from them. Like, you post a picture by the Golden Gate Bridge, she gave the example. You're not just sharing a moment, you're giving information about your location, your body and your body parts and other stuff. It could also it takes data on identity verification documents, private messages, drafts that you haven't actually published, so unpublished content, and then AI prompts and interactions, and even clipboard content. I mean, it goes on and on and on, but it's really aggressive. The point is, it's not like incidental data leakage, as she says. It is formalized, permitted, and documented. And the problem is, a privacy policy isn't just something that this is not how privacy policies work, I guess, is what she might say. And I think that TikTok will use the collected data and maintains the right to sell it to all interested third parties, from vendors to the federal government. So now here we are back at full circle. Instead of the Chinese Communist Party having access to all this data from TikTok and it being a national security risk, to now it's the US government has access to even more data, even more privacy violations from TikTok, but we're supposed to be okay with it because now it's within the country.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Tell me this. Am I right or wrong? Is it Larry Ellison? Is he behind one of the bids to buy TikTok? He's the Oracle guy.
I believe I saw his name come up. I'm sorry, I'm not as versed on that. I'd have to check the latest, but I thought I saw his name come up somewhere.
Yeah, I will do a little dig, but I'm pretty sure I came across something that he's involved in donating to. Well, let's check it out first before we say IDF. The Tony Blair Institute is in bed with them, supposedly. So we'll report back on that next week.
Doesn't this shine the spotlight in, gentlemen, on the importance of reviewing your privacy policy on the platform that you're signed up to? But the problem we have is that they don't make it very user friendly for the end user to be able to understand what they're doing, which shows the importance of this conversation today, just highlighting this to people, that this massive change has happened. If you're not comfortable with it, you may want to rethink using TikTok.
Or perhaps you want to go back to the privacy settings, such as, Wayne, you came up with WhatsApp is now using AI, but it's collecting, or it's there, it's an option, it's on your phone. A lot of people don't even know it's there, but those that do, you have an option to reduce the amount of data they're getting from you. Can you update us with that?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because this is rolled out across all of Meta's platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and indeed WhatsApp. It's that blue circle that is on your screen, no matter, and you can't even turn it off. That's the challenging thing about it. So you might have accidentally asked the AI a question. You may have been interacting with it, but that AI is now collecting those conversations up. And if you want to delete those conversations from Meta's servers, there is a way that people can do it. So you go back into the recent conversation and you type in /reset-AI, and you hit enter. And what that does is that tells the AI that you no longer want that conversation saved and you want it deleted from Meta's servers. So that's a step that users can do, but unfortunately, you can't opt out completely as yet of that AI being operational on your Meta account, Instagram, Facebook, or indeed WhatsApp.
So it's as simple as putting it into the prompt, where you put the prompt in.
That's exactly it, guys. Yep.
One more time, Wayne. It tells exactly what to put in there.
So the prompt is very simple, /reset-AI, enter. And what that does is it resets the conversation back to the default state and deletes the conversation from Meta's servers.
Wow. Wow. And would it do it only for the last prompt you used, or would it be for the day's prompt if you were doing a day full of it?
Well, currently the conversations are all housed within one thread. So effectively you would be deleting that whole thread.
Right, great. Yeah, that's good. That's very good. Okay, maybe if you send that to Reggie right now, we could put it up or stick it up there on the message board if you can. But you've also made a little video demonstrating that, Wayne. So
step-by-step video. We'll make that available in the show notes.
That's great. Okay, now I apologize. I won't get the notes up till tomorrow. So, yeah, it will be tomorrow, Saturday. Sometime I'll get it up tomorrow.
I did add that to the chat, what you just said, Wayne, about the /reset AI.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Okay, I'm afraid it gets worse with not just all our data being collected, and you can. I mean, by the way, I'm spending a lot of cash because I don't want my digital trail through my credit card to be out there. So I'm spending cash everywhere I go. And some places don't even take cash, or they look at you and think that's very old fashioned. I go, well, actually, slightly ahead of the curve. I'm not leaving my digital trail behind me. So, here is another worrying one, Reggie, you've spotted, which is ChatGPT using Grokopedia. Well, firstly, explain Grokopedia to us and what's it doing with Grokopedia.
Okay, so there's a little bit of context here. So Wikipedia, as you know, is a user-edited source that has been shown to be just as reliable and factual as any other online encyclopedia, including like Britannica. Even though it's edited by users, it's moderated by users. You oftentimes have arguments behind the scenes, but not, and people flag things and then people respond. And so it's all human-edited, a very small staff. It's nonprofit, no advertising, no corporate interests. And it's been very effective at sharing all the world's knowledge for free to the rest of the world. I personally support it with donations because I believe in what they're doing. I know it's not always perfect, but that's Wikipedia. Now, Elon Musk and some of his other right-wing cohort don't like the fact that a factual source like Wikipedia doesn't always align with their views, because their views often don't align with facts. When you talk about Holocaust denialism and white genocide in South Africa and some of the other things that Musk talks about. So they tend to label anything that they don't agree with as woke. That's in America as a term, woke, which used to mean something different. Now it's just a right-wing way of saying you don't agree with me, you're more left-wing. And they try to delegitimize factual sources by calling them woke, as though they're biased. So Musk started calling Wikipedia Wokepedia, and claiming that it was this flawed source because, again, it gives facts. If you look up Donald Trump or if you look up Elon Musk, it gives information that they'd rather you not see. And so they don't like it. So he started Grokopedia, which is meant to compete directly with Wikipedia, but it's all generated by Grok. And this is interesting because users can request changes, but it's all AI generated. Now, that's kind of become immediately a right-wing conservative version of Wikipedia for people that don't want to have their thinking challenged or be encumbered by, I'm sorry to say it, be encumbered by facts. Don't confuse me with the facts, stick with something I already believe in. There's the kind of choose your own media to fit with what you believe in. That's kind of what it's become. And the scary thing is, so most people, just ignore Grok unless that's what you want to read and you want to read something you already agree with. But then they found out ChatGPT is using Grokopedia as a source. Mm-hmm. This is a little bit scary because Grokopedia has really been shown to be a source of disinformation, of right-wing propaganda, the same kinds of things that Musk is always sharing and that we find on Twitter/X. And so it's not coming through on some direct questions. Like they did some tests on this. I believe I read about this in The Guardian. Aisha Down wrote about it, and The Guardian did some research on this, and they tried to check some different things, and they found the citations didn't necessarily come up if you search directly for media bias towards Trump, or certain other things that were very directly related to contentious items, but it was in more subtle ways that it would come through. That it would cite Grokpedia. And what's interesting is Grokpedia is AI generated, so now you've got AI citing AI content, but are they feeding on it also? Are they training on it? And is this furthering model collapse? But even beyond that, I think the bigger concern is everyone wants to know what is AI reading? Where are they getting their sources from? And to realize that a source like Grokpedia is showing up consistently in ChatGPT should be concerning, and it is concerning to disinformation researchers who are saying that this is a huge concern because of the way disinformation perpetuates on Grokpedia and the way that now it's going to seep in. And once it gets into these AI systems, it's very hard to get it out.
Yeah, well, that's model collapse, where dirty data is fed into the system, say through Grok or whomever, Grokpedia, and that dirty data generates an answer that then becomes part of more data that's fed back into the system. It's like mad cow disease. We've talked about the little cartoon some years ago about that. So that's very worrying. So the accuracy of ChatGPT is being brought into question even more so. We know it hallucinates, but even more so. And I believe Anthropic's Claude is also using Musk's Grokpedia. So beware. You've got Anthropic's Claude, and now you've got ChatGPT drawing or feeding itself that data, which can be extremely biased. I want to give you.
This has to do with wanting to appeal to all consumers, appeal to as many people as possible, as being a bigger concern than factuality.
Yeah. Well, let me give you even an appalling example of the inaccuracies of ChatGPT, for example. I discovered this week. Now, Reggie, that Wayne and myself are complete six rugby junkies and sports junkies and music junkies as well. Our Six Nations rugby starts next Thursday night. This Thursday night, Ireland play in Paris against France, which could be a horrendous affair. I'm dreading it, but I'm loving it. I'm looking forward to it. But I just wanted to remember where everybody ended up on the table last year. And my memory is not as good as it used to be. And partially it's an issue. Memory is a serious issue. But when I went looking for the table, I got this table up and I looked at it twice. I'd asked ChatGPT to give me the final results of last year, 2025 Six Nations rugby table, men's table. And it showed France as top. That was grand. I showed Ireland as second and England as third. And I thought to myself, that's not right. And it's a beautiful looking table. Now I'll put a link to I made a little video of this and released it yesterday on LinkedIn. So you can see exactly what it looks like, but we'll post a link to it in the notes on pearsmith.org/blog. So this very colorful, beautifully ornate table showing wrong information, not just the wrong places, but Wales were second from bottom and Italy were bottom, which is outrageous. If I was Italian, I'd be going through the roof about this, because they didn't. They got 5 points. The table said they got 0 points. They got 5 points, and they're improving every year, the Italians. And on top of that, they got Ireland and England. Ireland were actually third, not second. So completely wrong. And then I double checked the points, the final points each team got, and every one of them, all 6 of the Six Nations, were allocated the wrong number of points. It is absolutely shocking. I then got another source, BBC, and compared it to it and put one against the other. So it's appalling. And just be wary of generative AI in general, because I think it's getting worse myself, to tell you the truth. Maybe we are heading for collapse. And we'll talk about collapse later on with Jerry McGovern's book, because he's very much of the same opinion about that. We also did a little piece to test ourselves with, so I'll post this yesterday on LinkedIn as well. If you are interested in Six Nations, I've got a little one-pager that covers everything from the correct table to the actual results of each game, through to the fixtures for this year, and some wonderful quotes from the great rugby genius, Bill McLaren. So all in one, you can download that and use it if you want. But here's the thing: take that little table and ask your mates, and the scores from last year. Who won between Italy and Wales last year, or Scotland and Ireland, or what exactly? Can you remember? And I struggle myself to remember, because my concentration and memory is going down, partially because of the social media dependency we have upon, just Google it for the answer, and our brains are becoming lazy. And Jerry McGovern actually says this. We'll review Jerry in a minute, but he says memory is a form of resistance. memory is a form of resistance to AI dumbing us down and social media dumbing us down to a certain extent. And that's in his book, The 99th Day, which is a warning about technology. We'll talk about that at the end. But anyways, if you want to download the Six Nations fixture list and the correct results and the correct table, it's all on one page. You can download it if that's your cup of tea. This is, I wanted to move on to Claudot, a warning about Claudot, which came in from Dan Sodergren. Wayne, you've been looking at this. What's happening there?
Yeah, I have. And I covered this in my recent LinkedIn newsletter, taking a look at Claudebot, which is now rebranded as Moltbot. And we're all familiar with smart speakers, Alexa, all of that sort of stuff, where we ask a question. For example, what's the weather like in Warmpoint today? It's terrible. I can tell you that when I look out the window. I don't need to go to my smart speaker. But smart speakers are useful for getting recipe ideas and all that sort of stuff. We're all moving into a world now of AI agent. And effectively what Claudebot is it's an advanced AI agent that is designed to go beyond just answering questions. And that's what a lot of us have been using AI for up until recently. So it connects via APIs and it can automate tasks. So you can hook it up to your Gmail, you can hook it up to Telegram, you can, ask it to book a flight for you and check your calendar. It can even it can make payments on your behalf. Really, really scary sort of stuff that you're granting permission for these AI agents to be able to have access to. And that's the huge concern at the moment. As AI agents become more and more mainstream, we're going to start opening up the permissions that we give these AI agents access to. And if not correctly deployed, this can cause a whole lot of security and privacy risks for people. Now, the advice is don't be deploying any of these AI agents onto personal devices, such as laptops. But there are people now that are starting to deploy these agents onto personal and indeed work devices, which can cause a whole host of security and privacy issues. So I'm urging people to be careful. And if you are going to experiment with this technology, make sure you do it safely and not on any personal devices.
Right. So it's like releasing a swarm of AI agents into your system.
Exactly that. You can connect it with all Google Drive, for example, your Gmail, all of that stuff. And once you connect it, then it's got access to all of your information. And obviously, then if the AI is misused or the agent gets compromised, let's say there's a security injection or something that happens, a bad actor potentially can put in a prompt in there, which can potentially cause a lot of havoc and a real big concern for a lot of people.
Ouch. Well, but if you know what you're doing, apparently it's pretty good and quite clever. But
Well,
all those bugs.
this is the thing people need to. You could be the best developer in the world, and you could be conscious of all of this sort of stuff and all of these risks. The problem you have is, in order for the AI to be able to, the agent to be able to work effectively, you need to grant more permissions. So if you lock the whole thing down, it's not going to be much use to you. And what's going to happen is we're going to gradually unlock certain aspects, maybe with not even realizing it. And if there's a security issue there or a data breach or a compromise, then we're in big, big trouble.
Ouch. That is a worry, which brings us on to the 99th Day, which is lots of worries about a warning about technology. A disturbing book, I would say, written by Jerry McGovern. It's a serious piece of work, and it challenges the whole digital world we live in. It's how would you put it? I mean, it's getting rave reviews, and it's launched this Monday. Jerry sent me a copy of it to have a look at, and he's a great writer. We've had him on the show before, and he's very engaging and very articulate, and he's a storyteller and an extremely intelligent, capable guy who's been through the block. I mean, I video interviewed him back in the 90s in Dublin. He had a company called NUA, NUA, which means new. They were a marketing automation company with a massive block. Their office block looking across Dublin Bay, possibly the best site in Ireland for a corporation. And he ran that show, and he was just way ahead of the mob. And he writes a thing called Worldwide Waste, which is his blog, which you have to subscribe to. And it's a good read every Sunday. So just one page. So he's a very, very talented and capable digital marketer, amongst other things, business guy worldwide. He's respected. But he's come out with this disturbing book, A 99th Day, a warning about technology. And it's a powerful piece of work. Powerful. The Irish Times said essential reading for anyone who cares about our planet. prepared to be disturbed, enlightened, and inspired. It's got all of that in there. So for me, it highlights a lot. As data grows, our wisdom shrinks, is one of his quotes. I thought that's an interesting one. We are creating partial human beings amidst data insanity. And one of the things he points towards is electric cars. He says the amount of data required for automated cars is going to be frightening. And that the knock-on effect is therefore data, therefore energy, therefore, where the data is going to come from, therefore data centers, therefore water, therefore minerals, therefore all of the knock-on effects. So also what we're seeing is breaking our ability to pay attention. And we talked about that a bit before, our short attention spans. He refers to Facebook and Google as digital pimps and pushers. Not too nice if you're one of them. He refers to legalized child abuse, which we've been talking about, and legalized adult abuse as well. So, he does make some really interesting points, like AI doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. And farmers don't realize it just yet, but they're competing with data centers to grow food, the water and all the rest of it. So humans have purpose. So he does leave kind of a positive note. We should use our brains more to remember things and search for things. Memory is a form of resistance. So not to be dependent on just Googling everything. Let's actively try to remember stuff. Try to remember last year's Six Nations results is a challenge. So look, I'm going to park that there and finish with something extraordinary, which is a piece that I came across, which was done by a young guy called Ben West. Now, his younger brother committed suicide, I think it's 6 years ago, or possibly 8 years ago. And he set up a website, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's called reasonstostay.co.uk. So remember that, Reggie, if you think of that, reasonstostay.co.uk. Every time you refresh it, it generates another letter of why a reason to stay. So this is him just talking about this week.
On Wednesday, it was exactly 8 years since my little brother Sam took his own life and died. And I decided that I was going to use that day to launch a website called Reasons to Stay, which would deliver letters from strangers to people in Sam's situation who needed a moment of hope and warmth and connection. Since Wednesday, that video now has 1.1 million views. The website has delivered 33,000 letters.
He's in tears now.
Over 2,000 people have written letters. Oh. What do you even say? It's just the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to watch. And I just want to say thank you so much for everyone that supported this. It just means so much to me. Oh. Social media gets a really bad rap for all the right reasons, but over the last 3 days, I have just seen how it can be the most incredible place. I have read hundreds of letters that are just wonderful. And there's nothing to ask for in this reel except I just wanted to say a huge thank you. And please keep sharing the website. Please keep sharing all this stuff, because I'm seeing on the back end of this some real impact being made. So, thank you for making a hard week incredibly, incredibly special. Thank you. On Wednesday, 8 years since my little brother Sam.
Sorry about that. I got a bit overexcited. It is that's the wonderful Ben West. What a way to finish! And we put a link to his little video that he put together. So check out that website. Anybody in trouble, reasonstostay.co.uk is an absolutely beautiful website, and who knows, it might save somebody that you know or don't know. Okay, look, folks, we've run out of time. It's just 2 minutes gone beyond the half one. We have to stop. We do try to keep it to 30 minutes. We'll play our way out with that piece we started with earlier, which was Leah by Jordan. We wish you all a great weekend. Back in Dublin or in London, should I say, next week. So we'll see you then. And in between times, wish you a great weekend.
tak jakby mały tune skład. Ty masz tę charyzmę, a ja urok mam. Zatańczymy razem, nie stój dłużej sam. To życie jak z bajki Lola, Bunny, Bunny Bugs. Lecę jak Lola w kosmicznym meczu. Flow Leosia, melodia jak Kate Bush. Lecę jak w kosmicznym meczu Michael. Widzę cię, wciągnąłeś mnie w bajkę. Jak Jordan, jak Michael. Bajkę.
Okay, we'll post a link to that not lovely piece by Leah by Jordan. Thanks Reggie and thanks Wayne. Great to see you guys. See you all next week. All the best for now.